slightly different setup today because I thought I would film a beauty inspired video instead of my usual kind of hauls and fashion stuff I've been doing recently. The other day someone tweeted me, or it could have been an Instagram or could have been a video comment, but someone commented saying, please can you do a sort of 5 favourite foundations video? And I realised that I'd never really put anything together like this in a theme of products and talked about my favourites and which I would recommend. So I thought it was a pretty good idea. So whoever you were, thank you so much for your comment, and you've inspired this video. So I got thinking about it and thinking about what are my favourite foundations, and I couldn't pick a top 5, so I picked a top 6 so that I could split it into 3 luxury and 3 high street. So you're going to have 3 drugstore foundations here that I love, and also 3 luxury high-end foundations as well. So here we are. I'm going to start off, I think, with high street drugstore products for you. So I have 3 in mind that I absolutely love. I'll go from least favourite to most favourite, I think, but these are all still top 3. I have a lot of foundations and BB creams and moisturisers that I've used like this, and these are definitely my top 3 that I would highly recommend. So first thing, I've got them all here just so you can't see them yet. Okay, first one I would say is this one, the Bourjois Healthy Mix Foundation. I'm sure you've heard a lot about this product. I haven't used it for a while actually because I've been playing around with quite a few other foundations, but for a very long period of time this was a big favourite for me. This particular shade was shade 52 Vanilla, I think it is, and it was perfect for my skin tone. Although I think I wore this actually in a video once and someone commented saying that it was too yellowy, but I like yellowy toned foundation, so this had quite a bit more yellow. I don't really like pink toned foundation, so this suited the way I like my foundation. And then with a bit of a sweep of bronzer you can go a really beautiful colour. It's got medium coverage and you can build it up as well if you want a little bit more coverage, and it's also really dewy. I mean, it's called Healthy Mix, it's meant to sort of boost your radiance and whatnot and make you look really radiant and full of life for the day. So yeah, so I really like this. There's a couple of different versions of this. This particular one is a big favourite, and there's also one with a red lid as well. Very similar, and they're so both worth testing out as well if you're looking for a new drugstore foundation. Really love that. The second favourite would be the L'Oreal Magic Skin Beautifier BB Cream. I got this in America, but we do it over here as well, and it's called something very similar. Like I said, I'll link everything down below so you can go straight to links to the products. I got this in shade medium because the shade lighter than that was a little bit too light. It says that it primes, corrects, hydrates and perfects a flawless bare skin finish, which I quite agree with. When I've applied this, it's meant to be BB cream, but it applies to me very much like a foundation. It has these little balls inside it, so it looks like it's like a white gel or a white cream, and then when you put it on, these little balls kind of burst and it goes this lovely skin tone colour. It matches really well with my skin. It does have quite a bit of dewiness to it, nothing too ridiculous though, but it's definitely not matte. That's all I can say. It's not matte, but it's not like supreme dewiness. But it did make my skin look amazing. So many days when I kind of wanted a no makeup day but a little bit of makeup on, I'd go for this. I'd put it onto a buffing brush, I'd buff it into my skin, and hey presto, really lovely face with that. And finally, number 3 is something I'm wearing today actually, and a very new purchase for me because I wanted to get a bit more into drugstore foundations, more for you guys really, so I can start to recommend more drugstore foundations really, rather than all of the high-end ones that you know that I like to use. And it's this one. No surprises probably, it's the L'Oreal True Match Foundation. I was going to try the other foundation, I can't remember the name of it, that's meant to be everyone absolutely loves. But I went with True Match because the other foundation that they have, it had awful shades, and the lightest shade was ridiculously light, and then the one up from there was too dark for me, so I was like, where is the in-between colour? So I went for True Match, and I got this in N2, and it is a wonderful shade for me. I thought this would be a little bit too pink toned, when in fact it's not at all. It is a wonderful colour for me. I definitely need to tan up, that's for sure. I've lost my tan a little bit, and I think when I'm tan this will blend in even better, but for now I've just put some bronzer down my neck just to blend everything, but otherwise it's not much difference in skin tone. It suits me really well. It's quite a medium coverage, but it's definitely buildable. It covers all imperfections really on my face. It's got quite a radiant glow to it as well. Nothing too dewy, but it's definitely not mattifying. And it just gives that radiant sort of glow that I really, really like. It sets beautifully and it lasts for a really long time. I wore this yesterday and by the end of the night I still look like I had my full face of foundation on, so yeah, big winner. So those are my top 3. And whilst I'm thinking about it, I would also mention the Rimmel Wake Me Up foundation as well. I always got that in the shade Ivory, I think, and that is also a very beautiful foundation with even more dewiness. So if you're after dewiness, then the Rimmel Wake Me Up foundation is a good one. Alright, so next up we've got more high-end, luxury priced foundation. In fact, I didn't really mention prices in those ones. I think you're looking at, I think this was about £11 for the True Match. The L'Oreal, in fact I've got 2 L'Oreals there, I didn't realise. The L'Oreal BB cream was a little bit less, I think that's about £8. And then the Bourjois Healthy Mix, I think that's about £10. So they're all around the £10 mark. However, looking at the luxury products, you're looking around the £30 mark, so that's an extra £20 for your foundations. The first one I'll mention is this one, and it's the Lancome Tint Miracle. I have this in shade number 10. The second to lightest shade I think this is, and it's not overly light at all. But I find this is such a beautiful foundation. It wowed me more than I thought it would actually wow me. And I realised just how flawless and beautiful this went on. This is the kind of foundation that when you apply it to your brush and you start working away, your brush carries on for ages applying product and you're like, where's the rest of this product coming from? It just seems to disperse so beautifully. I've never really had a foundation that has really done that. You can literally work so much product in your skin with just a small amount. Like I said, this colour is wonderful for me. When I've tanned up, it's a little bit too light, but nothing that a bit of bronzer can't help with. And I often find that this is one of those foundations that I love to apply with other foundations as a kind of connecting shade. So I'll use this with the Laura Mercier Silk Cream, or I'll use this with the Tarte foundation, which are obviously much thicker foundations, and this is a lot lighter, and I like to add this in just to add a little bit of a lighter shade in there. It almost waters down the thicker foundations and makes them more blendable and easier to apply, so that's what I often use this for, if not on its own, for the days when I want quite a lightweight look that's still got really fantastic coverage. The pressure it leaves on your face is quite light. It just does not look cakey whatsoever. It just brightens and illuminates the skin. It's not ridiculously dewy, but it does have, but again it's not matte. I'm not really a matte foundation kind of gal, so most of these foundations I'm showing you aren't really all about matte. It's more about this kind of radiant glow, and this definitely gives it a kind of illumination. This is meant to be for natural light and bare skin perfection, and it definitely goes for that. If you are the kind of person who likes to apply makeup and still have your face look really natural, then this is fantastic. But it's definitely buildable, and you can build up to a much more flawless base with this. But it covers all manners of imperfections and red marks and whatnot, and yeah, it's a big favourite of mine actually. For anyone savvy enough, you might notice I look slightly different. That's because it's 2 days later and I'm refilming this section of the video because my camera completely lost it. So I'm sorry if I look slightly different, but we can just carry on with the same video to exactly where I left off. So I was looking at my second favourite luxury foundation, and that is the NARS Sheer Glow. Probably won't come as a surprise to a lot of you. This is a great favourite of a lot of people. I have this in the shade Deauville, and I find it's the perfect shade for me. A very yellowy toned foundation, very flawless coverage. It's very dewy and brightening and refreshing, and your skin just looks really radiant when you apply this. I very much trust this foundation as the foundation I go to if I'm in a rush and I really need to do my makeup really fast, and just to kind of refresh my makeup from the day if I'm going out in the night. I'll always reach for this one because I know that the coverage is perfect, the colour is the right colour exactly for my skin tone, so it'll do exactly what I want it to do really quickly. It's the reason why so many people think it's their favourite, and it's because it is so good. So it's highly recommended. The one thing I would say is if you have very dry skin, I would maybe think twice about this one. I've had dry skin in the past and tried to wear this over the top and it doesn't quite sit the way you may want it to. I found I got kind of patches of dry skin that foundation had fallen into, and it didn't look that attractive. And it really put me off this foundation, and it's only when I started really hydrating and moisturising my skin a lot more and I tried this again that I realised just how beautiful it was. So It can work absolutely amazingly, but I'd just be careful if you have very, very dry skin. And finally, getting my number 1 position in the luxury foundations. But like I said, all of these I absolutely adore. The top spot would have to go to the Laura Mercier Silk Cream. Again, this probably isn't any surprise to anyone that's followed my blog for a while or followed my Instagram or anywhere like that where I talk about my favourite foundations, because this is the one I always tell people about. If people say to me, what foundation are you wearing, your skin looks really great today, it'll always be Laura Mercier. This is a much thicker foundation, much thicker than the NARS and the Lancome Tint Miracle. Like I said, I often add the Lancome Tint Miracle in with this one, almost to water this one down because it is quite thick. Not quite as thick as the Tarte Amazonian Clay if you have that one as a comparison. Not quite as thick, but it's still quite a thick foundation, which means that it's very, very flawless coverage. Sits beautifully on the skin. It almost gives you this velvet, beautiful silk finish. It's the one I reach for if I'm going to a very, very special event or a wedding or a birthday party or something, some sort of big event where I'm going to have pictures taken and I know I need to look my best, and I always trust to go back to this one straight away. This isn't a dewy foundation. It has much more of a kind of semi-matte finish, but with a radiance to it that just adds sort of illuminated glow, so it's just so pretty. I love this foundation to bits. I have 2 different shades. I have beige ivory and I have cream ivory. I add the 2 together quite often to form the perfect shade. If I'm really tanned, I'll go for beige ivory. If I'm not so tanned and I'm more like this, then I'll go for cream ivory, and the 2 are just perfection. And those are my top 3. So in top spot, Laura Mercier Silk Cream. In second place, but should maybe be first place because I love it so much, the NARS Sheer Glow. And in third place is the Lancome Tint Miracle. If you're on a drugstore budget, then those 3 foundations I mentioned would be right up your street. If you want to get more into luxury foundations though, then maybe one of those would really, really serve you well. So I really hope it's been helpful. Thank you so, so much for watching. I really, really enjoyed doing something a little bit different on my channel this time and doing something a bit more beauty related that wasn't just a makeup tutorial. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and please let me know below if you did and what other kind of videos you'd like to see that are quite similar to this. If you're new to the channel, it would be awesome if you subscribe, and in that case I will see you in my next video. Bye guys! Mwah.